Hey everybody, it's a massive pleasure to be here. Thanks also for organizing this. I wanted to start with a look at how the German media is covering this topic. If you're reading the news, you would read stuff like, robots will steal your jobs. You will all be unemployed very soon. Now, I don't think so. I think actually artificial intelligence will have a very positive impact on your job and on the way we are working. So I would like to go through actually a bit more of an explanation what I think this impact is going to look like, how it works technically, because I think part of this being afraid is that people just don't understand it, and also what it means for you. In the end, I will also give you a hint what you need to do personally to become a millionaire in this industrial revolution. So let's get started. First of all, please remember, this is not the first revolution. 3 million years ago, there was job specialization happening, right? So if you were good at hunting, you would do the hunting and somebody else would take care of the kids. And then 3,000 years ago, we had central organization starting. So that was, for example, for building the pyramids, it was not just a bunch of specialists building these, but there was a central organization, the state, that was organizing this work and planning it. And that was having a huge impact on how effective this is, of course. Then 2,000 years later in England, we had the first decentral organization, like a start of enterprises, that is again a lot more efficient organizing work. And all of these revolutions still play out until today. And I think the most influential, it was already mentioned today, is the Industrial Revolution, started 200 years ago. And I think it's still ongoing with the automation of simple tasks. Now, the new revolution is about automation of decisions. And this is what is now possible. And the difference to the one we had 200 years ago is that the automation of tasks so far was just possible of things that were clear from the beginning. So you needed to know there's a task, and you had to know, okay, step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we can also automate things which need a decision in between, and that is new. To make you understand how it works from a technology perspective, I want to go through one decision-making process, and I picked one that you should all still remember, and I think many of you have just made this specific decision. It's what should you study? So imagine you are just finishing school, and then you need to make this big decision, you have no clue, and there's like millions of options. Now, you would say a machine can never automate this, right? But let's try to go through the steps of what would be necessary to automate this. First of all, it's quite similar to what you are doing personally. You're looking at some text, some interviews, you are looking at studies or rankings. And maybe you are jumping directly to a decision after this step. A machine needs a lot more structure. And maybe it would have helped you as well, but a machine definitely needs it. And that is what I would call structuring of the data. A machine needs to know what is a good decision. So it needs to have labels that tell them, okay, this is a good decision, this is a bad decision. And in this example, let's say we have happiness and income. So if you have a good decision, you have a high income. If you are a good decision, will also be like happy. And you would measure this, and you need to normalize it, let's say from 1 to 5. So 5 is a good decision. That's the first thing. And then you need features, and features are basically data points that help the machine predict your labels. So you can predict your future income by looking at studies. What was somebody earning when he was studying math on average, for example. Then you can make predictions. This is actually the fun part that everybody's talking about. So there you can use your models, and you can actually predict. Most likely, when you study philosophy, you will be super happy, but you will be poor. If you study math, you are kind of happy, and you are having a fall in income, so that's good. But this also is not yet a decision. This is just a prediction, and I think many startups also in this field start too early, and they stop there and say, okay, that's the product, and it's not a product, it's also not a decision. For the decision, you need an optimization, and that is, I think, the basic thing also in your thinking. Some people might just care about happiness, others might care just about the income, and let's assume there's somebody who wants both. So we are just averaging these two predictions, and then actually, this is the decision, so you're choosing actually math. Yeah? It's not a surprise that the machine will study math, right? But actually, this is the process of going. You can go through this process for all decisions. All of them can be automated like this. But the big question, is this decision, what to study, actually going to be automated? Is it part of this industrial revolution? And I don't think so, actually. Yeah? So let's maybe look at the question, how can you understand what decisions will be part of this revolution? Now, what to study, I would put it somewhere here. In terms of ease of automation, so how easy is this to be automated? It's not that easy. I would say income is something you can easily predict, and data is available. But something like happiness, we don't care about that in Germany. Yeah? So I think there's Bhutan, for example. They measure happiness, but in Germany, nobody cares about it. Actually, you can't really predict it well. And if you can't predict it well, it also means that the automation impact is not going to be very high, because impact, you can maybe see it as like how much better can the machine be in this decision than you yourself. And if you don't have enough data, then actually you're better off making this decision on your own. But what are important decisions that will be automated in this revolution? Let's have a look at 3 of them. One of them is quite famous, is how to drive. Yeah, so autonomous driving is not actually easy to automate, I can tell you that. The raw data is there, but then to structure the data on the fly in a driving car and make predictions in that car while it's driving and optimizations as well is quite difficult, actually. That's why I wouldn't put it like out there, but it's maybe here. But then on the impact side, it's going to be really impactful, because it will reduce emissions, there won't be any traffic jams anymore, you will have more time. So actually, it's going to be good for you. Yeah? And I just maybe for this example already, you see why this revolution will be good, because you have a choice, right? This is something also you would not choose to automate. You still want to make this decision on your own. And you are likely to automate decisions where the machine is actually better than you. And part of that is also where to invest. If you are doing day trading, it's really not a good idea, I can tell you that. You should stop, yeah, because there's machines that are much better at doing this. They make much better decisions in this field, so you should not do it anymore. Yeah? Therefore, this decision definitely gets automated, and they will become better and better. At some point, you will not make your own decision on this field anymore. Another one is how to sell. Yeah, so what price to choose is also a decision. There's a lot of data. If you selling 100,000 products in 20 markets, there's so many decisions to make. You cannot do it manually. It will be automated, and it will be better than what it was before. Yeah? So I think what I want you to take from this chart is really there is a human choice. The decisions we'll automate in this step are decisions that you do not want to do anymore. And as a result, there will be more benefit for you. Less emissions, more money, more time. Yeah? That's why it's going to be positive, the revolution. Now maybe a little bit more to detail the impact on companies. I think there will be less meetings. Yeah, because today the decision process is basically a young analyst goes to a database, gets some data, copy-pastes it into Excel. From Excel, he makes a graph and pastes it into PowerPoint, and then there's 10 people sitting in a room, and somebody makes a belly decision. Yeah? This is a broken process, and it bores everybody, and it will stop in many areas. Yeah? Because if you have automated decision, you don't need to meet anymore. There will be new profitable software markets, because let's take this autonomous driving. Let's say Volkswagen is actually managing to automate this. And let's say they're the best in the world. Then if you have a choice to get a taxi and it's driving you, you want to go with the best one, right? Because you want to be safe in this car. So Volkswagen will get more and more drives, and in the end, they will get better because they get more data and therefore much better, right? So these markets will be quite profitable. And I think in Germany, we lost the last like cloud, we lost search market. So I think we need to start thinking about these markets and start getting into those. There will be new competitive advantages because there will be global leaders, but not everybody can develop these things on their own. But as a car maker, you still need to partner up then, yeah? So you don't have the choice to not go in that direction. If you do not have autonomous driving implemented in 10 years, you will be out of the market. That's for sure. As an individual, I think it's going to be a relief. Most of you have way too many decisions to make every day. And it will be a relief for you to make less of these decisions, and on top, they will be better, right? It's really a win-win situation. And I think you have to start actively thinking about it. What do you really have to decide on your own, and what can you actually leave to somebody or to a machine? Most jobs will require data handling, and I'm not talking about just data scientists or engineers. I think that's clear. But I think you have to remember that everything basically needs to have a trace. So if you're working just in any job, you need to leave a trace so that the machine can take it over and actually try to automate this or the result of your job or maybe a later step. So yeah, my final remark maybe, yeah, if you want to become a millionaire in this revolution that is coming, that will be positive, the only thing you have to do is when you come home tonight, open your laptops and delete Microsoft Excel. Yeah? It's not part of this revolution, and that's already it. Thanks a lot for your attention.